Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. And the time right now is 2:18 a.m. I actually awakened sometime around 12. And I was just relaxing, and I did have a video playing. Wow, I want to get this. I had a dream, very bizarre dream, and I just attribute it because the had my computer, my desktop on, and then I had a vision. Just have a lot of thoughts on my mind, and even thoughts about the video that was playing on spirituality. There's Afro-Brazilian tantric practices that they were discussing. Yeah, let me start with the dream. I don't remember exactly how it starts, but I was with some people. I don't know who they were. It just seemed very real, very interactive. And we were to go on a spaceship. Yeah. And I was doing more looking around. It's daytime, and yeah, I know it's daytime, and I don't know what we'd talk about, but I was in the moment. I was like living in it, you know. I remember climbing into this little space. I remember there was a pole and some device. I know it's real sketchy. And we were to go with these people. We were wearing like street clothes, just regular civilian clothes, casuals. And I remember climbing into this space with some other people. This would look almost like a box, a long box, or something that you can slide in, and then it closes. And at some point, I got out of the box. I think somehow we traveled, and when I came out of the box, I didn't remember what happened in between. Somehow from point A to point Z, and you don't remember the journey, anything in between. I remember getting out, but it looked like back in my parents' home. I remember being on the driveway. My parents used to have a van, a Volkswagen bus, and I was in it, and I remember one of my siblings, the nice one, he was in it. And he looked younger, actually. Yeah. And it's a very sunny day. But it's just lively, a lot of liveliness, and animated. Again, I don't remember any of the conversation. It was just chit-chat. But I remember he looked young. He was very slim. He was his younger self. I felt young. I felt young also. And I remember from the bus, I was looking at the pine tree that my folks have at the corner of the house. And there were people on the lawn, and everybody's social. I don't remember what this festivity, I think maybe some people were eating. But interesting, there were a lot of people from India, that type. The neighborhood, it's, at least it used to be a black neighborhood. But this one, in the dream, families, look like family type people. I didn't know any of them. So like in the 30s, 40s, there were some children. And I remember someone mentioned, there was a little girl. She might have been, maybe 4 years old. And she had this fruit in her hand. Oh, where did you get the fruit? I think she had the round, almost looked like a large grapefruit or something. And she pointed to the tree, which was actually the pine tree, and there's a whole slew at the bottom part of the tree, a whole slew of this fruit. They were all like a yellowish color. So I said, wow. And so I wanted to go check this out. They were so big. They were big fruits. Looked like a lot of them looked like large grapefruits, and then there were other fruit. So they're all like the same color. They were funny shaped. They were like kind of pointed, like a looked like a like a monster fruit or so, something misshapen, pointy, not smooth at all. And I remember that I had gotten some food. And I think I was starting to eat fruit, too. I think somehow from there, then I was on a table. And I remember I was consuming the fruits and everything. Yeah, the fruits I was eating, there was, this small, they were in my hand, and I was just eating them. I hear this buzzing noise. Oh, it must be the radiator. Well, yeah, it's so quiet now. Just sometimes when you're thinking and then you get distracted. Yeah, okay. That was different. But yeah, I remember consuming the fruit. And I'm enjoying myself. But again, I didn't know who these people are. It's interesting, that corner, I remember in other dreams, it's like a lot of activity at this particular corner of my folks' property. Very lively. My family never had like people on their lawn and things like that, but this was like a spot where it just naturally gravitates people to come and mingle. And in real life also, there was this retaining wall that was set up in the corner, and so it's like a little ledge right on that corner, underneath the big tree. And I've caught people, passerbys, come and sit down. It says something. These are like people from the West Indies. And there were some people from India once. And yeah. So it's interesting that people will, on occasion, when I'm coming to visit, and I'm about to cross the street, that I see sometimes people sitting down just to get a breather. They're on their way somewhere, and they would come and sit down. It's interesting. It was never like that, but they built this ledge, the landscapers, a couple of years back. So it's interesting how one's property could change over time and invite people. It's a friendly little spot. I think I would like to sit down under it one day. But either way, yeah, so this dream, and I think at another point, we were gathering at the spots where these little ships or something, and we were, I think maybe we were going to go back somewhere. So again, we were gathering, to this device that we to climb into, and then I think at one point, maybe I was following the little girl, but we were in this maybe it was a bus or something. It was something that we were to travel in, and we were sitting down. Yeah, there was a lady. Because I think maybe at one point I was in my folks' house, and then I left the house or something, and then now I'm in this space, and people were sitting down. So from the little girl, I think maybe I followed the little girl back out with this thing for transportation, and I remember I was holding her. She was an East Asian woman from like India, and we were talking, and then I hugged her, and then she was sitting down, and she got really big, like, because before she was she wasn't skinny, but when I held on to her, like a mommy type, then I noticed her body got really, really big and heavy, and she was cuddly. And she had a dress on, and the dress was very tight on her. And I was hugging her. And the woman sitting across from her, she was an Asian woman also from India type. Yeah. And I feel comforted. And then I remember I woke up from the dream. It was just weird. Oh, I remember one other little part in the dream that I'm at the driveway where my folks lived, and in that van that my folks used to have, everything seemed open. It was a lot of outdoors. You could see outside, inside. With the big windows, and this particular brother. The one that's really liked in the family, him, and he was young again. And what was that now? And I remember how bright it was outside. It was very bright and sunny, and it was like summer season, very lively. And I remember we were talking, and things sort of looked fake, like with video editing, they have filters that you can use to make a video look kind of like a cartoon-like. And he was mentioning about the atmosphere, how it looked. He said, "Hey, look at this," and he poked into the air, and it had a weird look to it. Weird texture. So I did the same thing. I took my hand and I poked into the air and moved my hand about, waving it from side to side, and had a slight texture effect, like you could poke into the air, and you could see it kind of going in and in, like there's resistance. And I take that as a virtual reality, that we were in like a virtual reality thing, I think. Isn't that something? I think it was just weird. It was so, I don't know, I just feel so different emotionally seeing it. Oh, wow. Just, it was just a weird feeling. Just, it was so bright outside. Everything is, it was positive. And I think the travel portion of it, I think I was a little timid at one point. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, go in the box and then come out. I'm not sure what preceded it, why we had to go into space and everything. That I don't know. I remember something, and I know there was some apprehension. I remember that emotion. And then climbing in like a rectangular box. And I was to go in by myself, in this. I guess everybody had their own space, own box to go in, and they would close it. Yeah, yeah. I don't think that I was apprehension about the travel part, being in an enclosed space. I know that. But yeah, but coming out of it, everything it's like a virtual reality thing, and all these people from India. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? It's like another demographics, and I'm not a member of that community, so I'm just amazed how now in dreams you can be in any location, you can be amongst any people. As a young child or a teen, my dreams, I didn't have, what's really weird, I didn't have dreams with black people in it. Here I'm a black woman. My dreams always seemed to be, back then, overwhelmingly white people. So I'm fascinated now as a mature adult that now having people from Asia. And my walking life is not like that either. I don't have a lot of people from South Asia in my social contacts. So I'm wondering whether these dreams I'm actually meeting these people. Yeah, let me know. Are your dreams also changing over time? Are you visiting countries or locations you've never been to? But it's something, when I'm in it, I'm totally immersed in it. Again, I may not know any of these people, but interesting that it took place in my folks' home. Another thing that comes to my memory about this childhood home that I was raised in, the past, let's see, my father has been deceased now for 10 and a half years. And prior to his passing, I did often have dreams about my family's home. But what was different about it then was that I noticed each time the home seemed to change, that it was physically changing. There was more and more reconstruction of the house. And at one point, there was a whole construction crew redoing the house. And I think at one time, the whole house disappeared. Yeah, it's really weird that there was an evolution of the house. That it wasn't a good experience in that household, actually. So I think symbolically that my association with the house had to be reconstructed, had to be dismantled. And I think at one point the house caught on fire. And even my father was being destroyed too. That I remember at one point he was a dark figure, and he shrunk. And he got destroyed or something. And interesting in life, just before he died, his legs were amputated. His had an amputation, first one leg and then the second one, but right below the knee. It was weird. So it's weird that in the dream that he shrunk, he had no legs. Yeah, yeah, I take that foundation had to be destroyed, symbolically, physically in the dream, that each time there was something changing in the house, and then there was some mild construction, then outright it was building a new house at that spot. Really interesting. So here now in this dream, it's like a gathering place. And again, you see that there's fruit trees at that spot. Yeah. So it's like, wow. Well, this is a transformation. I think what it symbolizes, that a home that was negative for you, that now it's about peace, gathering fruit, people able to sit under the tree. Yeah, fruit's a sign of prosperity. And again, these were people from Asia. I think the neighborhood is changing. You, the there are people from Asia that are moving in slowly. Yeah, I think that particular neighborhood, the homes there, that it will turn over, and I think it'll turn over to people from India, the people who could afford the going rates for homes in that neighborhood, would tend to be people from South Asia that will move in, and you also have Hispanics now moving in as well as renters. So, but it seems positive though, but different. And I'm wondering why space, why was it need to leave? And there was a group of us that was leaving to go to space. And a brother of mine there in the dream, I'm not sure was there any other family member, but I remember him, that particular brother. It just, I don't know, it just feels so weird. I still feel weird about it. And I think it was interesting that it's very bright, very sunny, So the mood was very lively. It seemed positive. Okay, so now, after awakening from that dream, I did open up my eyes. And then I closed it right back. And then I saw these visions. And I remember there were leaves, these long leaves. Each leaf was maybe 7 inches long. It was about maybe 1.5 inches wide, and each end of the leaf was pointed, and it was swaying back like it was a whole slew of them. And it reminded me of the sea, and sea plants moving back and forth with the waves, with the current of the water. But we're not underwater, but there was, in the atmosphere. But it acted like an ocean. And these leaves, many, 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 many of these leaves, and they were swaying back and forth, back and forth. And I think it might have been a grid also around these leaves. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I remember the leaves. And it was kind of faint, but you could still see. And I think there were people too. And that's basically it that I saw. So this is the dream followed by the vision that I had post. But again, I did open my eyes and then I closed it again. It seemed very, again, generated. Remind me of a computer-generated visual. It seemed very, everything was very uniform in appearance and, very man-made. So that's what I experienced today, this early morning. I just feel so weird right now, emotionally. I see that things are really changing. So I'm going to close this video, but I think I'm going to make a new video about something else. So thank you for watching, people, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.